Hello friends, this is Luke the Gamer Dude, and today in Diablo 2 Resurrected, I'm hitting Terrorized Zones. Granted the least terrored of the Terrorized Zones, but I'm legitimately curious, are normal zones actually worth running through? Or are they nothing more than an experience-gaining sideshow? Well, I ran 125 of them over the past week, so let's find out. During Diablo 2's 22 Nights of Terror, a day of Terrorized Zones were fashioned solely around boss areas, and with the limited time frame before me, I managed to get through 75 of them. The other 50 were scattered across various regular areas in an attempt to draw some comparisons to figure out where best, if anywhere, to spend your time. I'm using 150% Magic Find as par to provide a base measure point for your runnings. Higher Magic Find might produce more than what I found, and lower might produce less.
No way!
I'll go ahead and run through my gear, but we're looking for equipment to help you beast Nightmare mode. Uniques, good rares, and higher end sets is what we're looking for here. The boss runs were not evenly distributed as Terrorized Zones were randomized, and the time it takes to get through each area can differ greatly, especially if you're lacking teleport. I'm also including items found not just from the bosses, but also their minions and mob drops as well. Let's start with Bale and work our way backwards. In Bale's 12 runs, a few items were of potential value. Some set items included Milabraga's Orb, Infernal Sign's Heavy Belt, which was then followed by a pair of Infernal's Heavy Belts, so that's fun. Some decent rare Demon Hide Gloves, and for the uniques, Blood Fist Heavy Gloves, Steel Clash Kite Shield, Ironstone Warhammer, Hawkmail Scale Mail, and Woestave Hellbeard was actually the best from Bale, but Ventar dropped the better ones with Skystrike and an Eye of Etlich amulet. Nice. However, I would consider most of Bale's drops fairly mid at best. The 22 Nights of Terror really wanted you to fight the Lord of Terror, which was fine by me as the 25 Chaos Sanctuary runs provided much better items. The minion drops were no slouch here, starting with Bloodrise Morningstar, Milabraga's second appearance with the War Scepter, Ripsaw Flameburge, some Magic Find Demon Hides, and even a random mob dropped the Soulflay Claymore. But Diablo brought home the goods here. Starting with Tancred's Bonehelm and Immortal King's Avenger Guard. That's a good find. Some more Magic Find Demon Hides, and the uniques were numerous, including Cohen's Point War Sword, Tearhaunch Greaves, a 2-for-1er with Witchwild String Short Siege Bow, say that 3 times fast, and the General's Tando Liga Flail. And finishing Diablo with a 3-for-1er, Inferno Stride Demon Hide Boots, another Ironstone Warhammer, and Darkglow Ringmail. Diablo's drops at least came out swinging. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for Mephisto's 9 runs, as they were lackluster at best. These items be escaping me. Sigyn's Greaves dropped, and Blastbark Warbow was the only unique. A decent circlet, I suppose. And a staff with ridiculous elemental but 0 skill affixes. I guess I'll just smack enemies with it. Anyway, the Knights of Terror did not provide many Durance Terrorized Zones, for me at least, and perhaps this is why. The IO was a nice ender though. Andariel received the least amount of attention since the tombs were not terrorized often, and finding the real tomb can be time consuming, whether by luck or by finding the summoner, as the false symbols will still be relevant. So only 4 runs came out of this. Results were mixed. In the tombs I found the unique cleaver, Butcher's Pupil, and man does this thing dish out some damage. Andariel dropped the set round shield. Withstands guard. Unfortunately, outside of a pair of normal uniques from other tombs, that was it. But I will say there could be potential here. You might have been wondering why I went down in evil order rather than up in evil order. Surely I'd end with the best findings, right? And surely the best items are from Diablo in Act 4 and Baal in Act 5, rather than Andariel in Act 1, right? Right? So, starting with a pair of rares, including a War Club, and a pretty good amulet. The uniques, though, came out more on the average side, with Sparkling Chainmail, Lance of the Yagai Speedum, along with Hellclap Warbow, 2 Wormskull Bone Helms, and the Impaler War Spear being the better one here. The Gorefoots came out ethereal, in case you were wondering. And the sets included 3 Sagan's Great Helms, you know, just in case. But then Rite of Passage Demon Hide boots. Nice. So, I realized I wasn't recording until after I identified it, so you'll just have to take my word here. But when Huainen's Justice bill dropped, so did my jaw. How? This is a great find. I reeled my jaw back up and continued on, only to have it hit the floor 3 runs later with this lovely find. Tal Rasha's Crest Death Mask. I couldn't believe it. An absolutely fantastic find. Huainen's Justice and Tal Rasha's Mask are arguably the best items found so far, and they drop from Normal Terrorized andariel. That's crazy. The one caveat here, though, is navigating the tombs can be a pain in the ass. Unless you have teleport, you're essentially going door to door to find the next level. But I'd say it's worth it. Apparently, andariel can drop some of the best stuff. Now, as for the 50 regular areas, results were quite surprising. I didn't travel everywhere, and the max runs in any one area was only 8, but the terrorized zones took me from the Cold Plains to the Ancient's Way. And most areas without a mini-boss or super unique can likely be skipped. The very few and scattered unique mobs you come across can be worth a stop. This one here dropped Hell Plague. But otherwise, you'll mostly be tracking down enemies such as Frozenstein in the Frozen River, Thresh Socket at the Ariat Plateau, Izul in Plains of Despair, Beetleburst in the Far Oasis, Griswold and Tristram, and even Bishabosh in the Cold Plains has potential for good drops. A couple noteworthy items were from the River Mob, another Bloodrise Morningstar. Frozenstein dropped, I think, both Spirit Shroud Ghost Armor and a rare hand scythe. Beetleburst surprised me here by dropping Naja's Circlet. Sparkling Chainmail and Sigan's Wrap came from some random mobs. But out of the other areas, Tristram surprised me the most. A random mob in the corner I almost passed up dropped Bone Snap Maul, which just looks so cool. Then old Grizzy himself dropped another Blood Rush. Okay, you get it. And Spire of Honor? No way. From Griswold? Damn. The slow attack speed realistically makes this a bit tough, but the Act 2 mercenary really likes this one, and he'll certainly appreciate it.
I'll put that to good use.
So what can we conclude here? I honestly expected the answer to my initial question to be a definitive no. Normal terrorized zones are not worth running through. It's all crap for quality or rarity. Just go into Nightmare, you pansy. But with just 125 runs, and grinders will know 125 is basically a warm-up, I ended up with some pretty awesome finds, and some from the least likely of areas. Andariel had the best finds, with Wayne's Justice, Talrash's Death Mask, Rite of Passage Demon Hides, and Impaler War Spear. The mini-bosses and super uniques were surprisingly next best, with Naj's Circlet from Beetleburst, Spirit Shroud from Frozenstein, Bone Snap, and Spire of Honor from Tristram. Diablo had a few good drops, including Immortal King's Avenger Guard, Inferno Stride, and Witchwild Siege Bow. Oddly enough, the highest act boss brought some of the lowest value to the table, with his only exceptional being Skystrike, which actually dropped from Ventar, along with the Etlich Amulet, but I suppose Wostave can make an honorable mention. Duriel in the Tombs brought Butcher's Cleaver and Withstand's Round Shield. I honestly wanted more runs from the Tombs because I felt there was a lot more hidden in here. And Mephisto, Mephisto, why must thou always disappoint? But I don't know. Maybe I just get unlucky with Mephisto. So in the end, if you're going through Nightmare and find yourself hitting a wall,
pussy,
throw some Magic Find on and see what terrorized zones appear. Maybe you'll be as surprised at what you find as I was. Thanks so much for watching. That will conclude this small analysis of grinding out normal terrorized zones. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. Remember to subscribe for more fun Diablo, ARPG, and other gameplay analytics, and feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you ever go through normal terrorized zones? Or is it always straight to Nightmare? Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.